Google keeps us in suspense.
That was definitely more than 3 seconds.
Oh, suddenly I've lost Matt's audio. I don't know if the audio's on the thing, but it's not on off. Maybe with my headphones.
Can you hear me now?
Say some things. No, it's just I've
No.
Oh, I don't know. Like I think I might have just. I think I maybe just accidentally muted my computer. The magic trackpad was being particularly magical this morning, and like decided, no, let's just like randomly turn the sound off. Okay, sorry. Yes,
I'm talking that much. You're like
well, if only I was. All the things in my life were so controlled. No, it happened in one. I got very confused in one AV community meeting before. Anyway, sorry. Yes. So let's start with you, Matt.
Yeah.
You probably had already started, and I just couldn't hear you. Go on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess before we hit the record button, I was just talking about my talk that I'm going to give it a week, and your suggestion I really like is to set the AV community talk as a time to rehearse and tell people. So maybe nobody will show up, but maybe a couple of people will show up and give me some feedback. And I have a couple friends who have offered to who have some experience have offered to help me out with that as well. So I think I definitely need to take advantage of that. And yeah, then so yesterday after we had day 4 of our sprint, and yeah, it felt like we really made some progress with like a kind of a little bit of a breakthrough with the whole like let's just try confirm edit, like upgrading it and in seeing if it just works with MediaWiki, since we're not using like a particularly old version of MediaWiki. It's only a couple back from the latest version, and we did that on production clone and it worked. And I mean, I haven't checked it this morning, but when I last checked it last night, it was still working, no problems. I'm curious to talk to Sam and see what's going on with the bots, although I'm not sure how that works, because it's anyways. But then we tried it on production and things seemed to be affected, but I'm not sure if it was just a coincidence or if it was something we needed to restart all the services, including Parsoid and stuff like that. And I'm not sure if it was related, but we restarted the actual virtual machine and went back to the other confirm edit, because when it's on production, it's a little bit has more wider consequences. And then so that was that, and then we kind of broke up, and I had to play around with some things that were quite interesting. I found on Bitnami that you can download the MediaWiki instance to use on your own virtual box, for example. It's like an OVA file. So I did that, and I got the newest MediaWiki on the virtual box. And then I started thinking like it would be really nice, although I didn't really figure it out, but it would be really nice to be able to just copy like the files from that virtual box and put them on a pin drive or put them somewhere on my computer, and then copy them into the instance we have, like the staging clone, for example, and just kind of replace the htdocs folder with the new htdocs folder, which from having a look at it, it seems like it's like from what I downloaded from the MediaWiki, it seems like all the same files and folders that are in the htdocs folder are in the MediaWiki folder for 1.3.1 or 1.31, but didn't quite get that worked out how to do that. And then I also like realized that it's not just that. There's lots of other files and folders and configurations and stuff like that would need to be gone through and changed. So I stopped going down that route. And what did I do? I upgraded confirm edit on staging clone, and was the same as with production clone, where we didn't have any issues at all. And was able to sign up new people using the reCAPTCHA, no CAPTCHA, able to use visual editor, able to use
this was having made what change?
Upgrading confirm edit.
Oh, okay, on the staging server.
Yeah. Well, on staging clone, but
right.
yeah. So I mean, just gives us I mean, I don't know if that gives us more confidence to try it again on production or not, but just to get more information.
It's another data point, definitely.
Yeah. So then I switched gears and I worked on website one, that GitHub jobs issue, the fetch README files, and yeah, I mean that took a while, and I got a PR put in, but it's a work. It definitely needs to be factored, and it's not passing. There's a couple tests that both are not passing that I didn't have the energy to go through and try to get working. And today gonna keep sprinting. Hopefully I think the idea is gonna be jump into the Docker stuff, and see what's going on with that with Doku, and that's pretty much all I'm gonna do today.
Yeah.
And blockers, I guess, it's really frustrating because it seems like we would have this upgrade in place done if it weren't for this whole Microsoft portal Bitnami connectivity issue, because it seemed, I mean, getting it set up on a virtual box was, obviously I didn't add all the specific extensions and configure it the way it's working with MediaWiki and transfer the database, but I feel like that's not that difficult, and getting it set up on the virtual box was like, extremely easy, so yeah, that's really frustrating that's stopping us, but as is life.
That is a complex pattern that we exist in. Yes. Well, so I note that, interestingly, so fantastic work for getting that pull request in for the website one. But it didn't show up in my GitHub notifications. Yeah, I mean, I can see it. It's there. It's great. I mean, I did check my GitHub notifications this morning, and I didn't. Just like I had sort of previously been trusting GitHub notifications to show me all the stuff that I needed to show, and I switched from going and checking every individual repo that I need to check that there's something that I should look at, and I was sort of using notifications as like, okay, it'll show up in GitHub notifications if I, need to my attention is required. Yeah, so my trust in GitHub notifications goes down as a result.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if I accidentally put the wrong.
No, I don't think. No. I mean, I'm watching the repo. I think you've done everything right. No criticism of you implied here. I think this is specifically, what are they called? GitHub. And so I mean, they're running a massive site, and it's like, I mean, maybe like the pull request page. I have these huge number of tabs open. The pull request page was open. It also refreshed, so then it got knocked off. I mean, it may not be GitHub may be doing it perfectly. It just may be my use of thousands of open tabs at the same time has. Anyway, that aside, you already summarized what we did in the sprint yesterday. This morning, I had the web dev mob. It was good, and Linda and Fiona and Faith, and so Linda and Fiona had successfully got their initial pull request into Odin project, which is the part of which we've been following through, and that brings us to the end of like a section in Odin project. So we actually then spent half an hour on the Harrow website. Harrow Woodcraft website. This is another very paying project, very, very small amount of money, but a nice simple one. And we've got is it Peter who's interested in that, and as well as the web dev mob folks. So we set up a Jackal server locally, and got that running locally, and that was nice. And yesterday I bought a domain name. What they're saying for this, what's it called, the Harrow Woodcraft, is that they want. Let's say they've got an existing site. Maybe there's too much information. Harrow Woodcraft. They've got an existing site. Which is this one, which was taken a while ago, and I think they plan to keep it. And the designer who's designed the new stuff has, what did that suddenly change to there? I don't know. Has designed this new leaflets and whatever, and wants a new site that's specifically targeted at new members. So I, like following their instructions, I got hold of this new domain name, harrowwoodcraftnewmembers.org.uk, and tried to point it at the Jackal site. Firefox seems to really stick around with old connections. I don't think it's working yet. I'm kind of waiting for the DNS to update. It's going here. So at the moment, it's like basically telling me it's not secure and it's going to like a blank page. We've got this is actually the, we've got now in Adventures how we've got new members. It's got like this Jackal thing that we created locally, and it runs locally, and it was running here until I added the new domain name in for it to work. So there's a kind of a little bit of a block there. I think it's basically sensibly we wait a day, well, and for me until Monday, and then check in and then recheck all of the DNS stuff and so on. But yeah, this is, I think it's an interesting thing for Peter and for Fiona and Linda and everybody, because it's like, okay, brand new brief from a client. What kind of thing do we set up? What are the kind of issues that we encounter along the way, and so on. So nice to get that started. And then, yeah, I mean, like, more bloody admin, paying the lawyers 160 quid for 45 minutes chat, which is, I will remember not to speak to them on the, because they're like, in the email, they're like, oh yeah, we should have a phone call about it. I'm like, oh yeah, let's have a chat. Because we'd already paid them, like, I don't know, was it even was it, how much? Oh, am I getting it wrong? We like paid them $1,000 for like updating our stuff for the GDPR, and so I sort of like the phone conversation was to discuss the the stuff that was that went into that, and I was kind of like, oh right. I mean, I just should have double checked. I'll know in future. I mean, it's one of those things. Anyway, got those bills paid. Did some sort of. We've also managed to successfully use TransferWise to transmit money to our mentor as the mentor incentive payments. And turns out actually anybody else who uses TransferWise using our special invitation link means we get 50 quid. So that's so I tweeted that, and that was like, yeah, people sign up for that, so that's all good. Yeah. And was I struggling towards anything else? So that was the morning. Gosh, where does it all go? Yeah, and so yeah, the bit that comes down now to like our outstanding blocks with the, what is it even called? The NHS DevOps sprint. We have got mobs happening today, other mobs today. So Federico said he'd take the React mob, which is fine by me. Then we also
under very certain conditions.
There's a lot of what Federico does is under very particular conditions, and he sets. I think I respect people who say what they're doing and what the unlike me, he just throws himself. Oh yes, I'll do that and I'll do that. I mean, I've actually got another thing that's going on is that Rachel, who is the person who's our client for the local support project, which we might be sprinting on in 2 weeks' time, she is like starting to connect me with other local charities that have IT issues of various things. I also have this like crazy idea for doing like a local charity podcast where I go out with as a roving reporter and go and interview local charities about what's going on with them. This may just be, I mean, there's a lovely good feeling of like volunteering and helping. It'll probably never lead to any money, and I'll die destitute alone in a street gutter somewhere. But anyway, it's lovely to connect with the community. What else is going on? Sorry, I've lost my train of thought there, which was to talk about the events for the rest of the day. There potentially would be a MOOC mob today. We put off meeting with the Codio guys again until next week because we knew we were doing the sprint today. I guess there will be confusion. I said in the, I should say it's in other places. I guess I should do that. Yeah, I put in the like days events things. Oh, potentially Rose or Ryder could start that if they wanted. They'll of course not see that. I mean, I expect what will happen is we'll be mid-sprint and like Rose will come online and say, "Is it happening?" And so I'll maybe like flag Rose and Ryder or let them know that we're not planning to do that. And then we potentially have our podcast recording activity that we might do. Federico has been leaving some cryptic comments about the quality of the recording that we had. That makes it seem...
I re-listened to the end. Well, actually, I listened for the first time to the end, and there's a like exchange between you and I where we're like both talking at the same time, like over each other, but like. I mean, that sometimes.
I mean, that sounds like normal behavior in a hangout. Like, that's. I mean, that's. I talk over people all the time in real life, and I know it's a personal character flaw of mine. But you think more than that, it feels like the separate audio streams were not stitched back together correctly.
Yeah, I think in this case, it wasn't you talking over me. It was me talking and you like responding to what I was saying before you even heard me say it.
Right. So the sequence of time. I mean, I am pretty, sure. Sometimes, I'm that. Sorry, just being ridiculous. Yeah. Oh, that's a shame because it sounded quite nice to start with. Yeah, and I guess that what I meant to do was the last hour while I was doing admin stuff was to have that playing in the background. But
I mean,
okay.
yeah, I'm not sure. Like we might try before we actually record to see if we can do like you suggested last time, and to have like the Google Hangouts in a separate window and turn off the sound emitted from that window.
Yeah, yeah. I
So you
mean,
don't have the echo, and it doesn't pick up any feedback.
the funny thing is, it's we've already got the Hangouts recording it. It would seem like the sensible thing to do really is just carry on doing Hangouts and extract the
Yeah.
the audio separately from the. I mean, it's like convert. I mean, if we've got a YouTube, can we
Yeah,
convert a YouTube?
I have a application called YouTube DL. Have you heard of
Right.
it?
No.
You can download anything that's like, if it's on YouTube, I can download it in MP3 format.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe right. Maybe we. I mean, like, Zencaster is kind of. What's his name? Yeah, we can try. And there's other things as well. Okay. Anyway,
I have a question about that. So, like, I mean, more importantly than, I mean, for me at least, more importantly than the podcast is the fact that we're gonna have a retro about the week, and also you bringing up what we're gonna do in the sprint in 2 weeks, and not. I mean, it sounds like we know which project we're gonna work on, or have an idea of which project we're gonna work on, because we've been like hypothetically throwing.
Yeah, I mean, there's some thoughts about that. I guess before we get into that, I would say, like, yeah. So I think that's the rest of the day, and so now we're in the
After Scrum.
And so yeah, I mean, I guess the blocks and the stuff and whatever for the NHS thing we can leave till we'll create a hangout in 20 minutes and sprint. So yeah, anything else that we need to sort out in the space created by the current after Scrum?
Yeah, I mean, I was just asking, like, when are we going to decide what we're going to work on in 2 weeks?
Well, I think we can decide when we want to. I'm certainly thinking that that it should be local support. I mean, I'm kind of conflicted between whether it should be local support or website one. I'm sort of thinking, let's make it local support and make the focus be, can we get local support hosted on Doku so that we can turn off the Heroku stuff for local support and save that money.
Yeah.
In a kind of, that's, I mean, there's lots of other things, like there's a charity commission and this, that, and the other. I mean, judging by the experience this week, it's perfectly possible to set an objective for what we'll definitely get done in the sprint and then not get that done. So,
that was what we're going to get done the first day of the sprint, actually.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, I think that's definitely, I'm looking forward to doing a retro today, looking back at the sprint, talking about what we could do differently in future sprints, recording that retro in some format or whatever. Who knows? The entire agile process. Anyway, yeah. So like, but I mean, I think that sensibly we will come out of today with some ideas about what we want to do the next sprint and how we want to structure it differently or keep certain things the same. And, but we don't have to commit to what the next sprint is about today if we don't want to. Probably sensibly, the sooner that we say what it is, then the sooner that people that gives other people who might want to get involved a bit more of a lead time to get involved and know that it's happening. So, advance notice like that is good. I feel kind of bad that this DevOpsy sprint has not been so accessible. I feel like if we do it could be an RFM or a local support or website one sprint, then it could have more of it could be decomposed more easily, maybe. I mean, if we hadn't made the focus of this sprint DevOps, we could have had people like coming in. We could have started the week with a Trello board and, but we had just you and me on the first day. Anyway, we'll see. I mean, all of this is like, I feel like we can get into the details of this in the retro today. Is there anything that we need to work out now?
No, I don't think so. I'm saying that I think it'd be nice if we decide what we're gonna sprint on in 2 weeks, like either before the retro or at the end of the retro, or I mean, it wouldn't be retro then; it would be more. But anyways, like, yeah,
Yeah. No, that I think, you know, hopefully we can. Yeah, that sounds great to come up with a plan. All right. Well, I'm going to,
sure.
unless there's anything else, I'm going to bagel,
Okay,
and then I'll create a new thing in a thing, and we'll do the thing.
nice.
My vocabulary module's crashed. No. Oh dear. All right.
No,
See you momentarily. Thanks, Matt.